4, 3, 2, 1, go live. Do you want to go live? Let's go live. Hey, it's Wednesday evening at about 8:30 p.m. I think it's Wednesday evening. Is it Wednesday evening? Shoot, nobody even told me. Wednesday. It could be. I'm trying to go live on entirely the wrong day. No, it says here Wednesday, April 24th. Yeah, it must be Wednesday evening, 8:30 p.m. Yep, that's what the little electronic device in my hand says. So it must be time for another live stream. Oh, I see people have come in the audience, so therefore it must indeed be Wednesday evening at 8:30. Hello, Jason here at Green Country Agroforestry. I turned everything on and there was nobody there. I was concerned for a moment. Plus, maybe I had the wrong day and the wrong time. Oh, there's 6 people there now. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi. If you'll pardon me, I'm just going to get comfortable a moment. I just came in from running the sprinklers outside. We had have to keep that new forest expansion over there on the north side of the house as we're getting everything established. We have to make sure we get it watered in frequently, and we just have not had any rain like we would typically have here at the beginning of the springtime. They say, well, we had a little sprinkle earlier. They say we're going to get some actual thunderstorms in tomorrow, hopefully, and that will be exciting. I know this is like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, right? Except without the creepy song. I've decided that if we're going to include any music in the show, I'm not going to do it with this particular microphone that I'm using for voice right now. The voice is okay, but whenever I try to play the guitar in this space, the decibels cause the microphone to cut out, and you miss half of everything. It just sounds horrible. So if I'm going to do any of my own music, I'll just pre-record it and play a clip for you. Maybe I'll have the camera pointed at me while it's being recorded, so you can tell that I'm really playing it. So that'll be fun. But other than that, I'm not going to do it anymore because I don't want to torture you guys. I actually listened to it. I logged in under the Bilbo Baggins account and clicked on the live stream to see what was going on. Hi, Betty. Hello. Oh, speaking of which, we need you to cooperate with me here for a moment, ma'am. I've got something I need to do with you if you don't mind. So anyway, Bilbo was watching the last live stream, and I thought it might be funny if whenever we get the closed circuit cameras to have the camera from Bilbo's POV. So whatever he's happening to watch, that's what's going to show up on his live stream cam. If he happens to have a tablet or a screen to watch, he can amuse himself by watching television. He's already gone around to a few gardening channels and said, "Hey, since I can't get out into my garden right now, can I watch yours?" So eventually, that may be something that he winds up doing as sort of a fun thing with other creators out there that like to have fun. We'll see. But I need to. Yeah, you don't want to get hopped up on caffeine and sugar. This is big people stuff right here, Bill. All right, but real quick, I needed to help Betty out of her clothes. Betty's been a good girl. She's worn this harness all day long, and the idea is eventually we're going to get these kitties leash trained. Hi. Oh, go ahead and finish eating, and then I'll do the thing that we need to do with you. I'll talk to them for a minute, if you don't mind, ma'am. Okay, Miss Betty, she's so well disciplined. So we've been getting them in the morning. We've been putting them into these walking harnesses. So eventually, yeah, we'll be able to walk the cat. Okay, thank you. Hey, we're gonna. Well, I know you're interested in that. May I have you sit down here for a moment while I work on your harness? We're going to work on this thing and say hello to the good people. Oh, actually, you want to do it on my lap here? They can't even see you. Here you go. This is Mistress Betty, or Betty Underfoot is her official name. And she is the well-disciplined kitty that you may see in the Technocats. She doesn't have her own YouTube channel yet. I know, right? Bill's got one. But these things are really kind of cool. So we're going to have you bring your foot out here. All right. And then just pull your head back and out. Good girl. That's all. That's all she has to do. She got done dressed in front of an audience. Oh my God, she's such an exhibitionist. Now she's gonna lick herself. Okay, off you go. Off you go. Go torment somebody. Go torment somebody in there. Really? You're just gonna stand here and preen in front of everybody? Yes, she is. Okay. Well, hi everybody. Good evening. Hey, Billy. How's it going? Hi, Arnold. Wow, I haven't seen Arnold in a while. Grandma Zoo is with us. South Carolina's with us. Kimber's with us. Oh, Kimber's there dropping the Bilbo Betty 2024 channel. If you want to watch the kitties do kitty things when it's not a live stream, then you can watch them do cute kitty things. There might be some feline training involved if you're ever interested in the fine art of animal handling and training cats to do what you want them to do. Okay, so let me get this laptop a little bit closer because I can't read the comments, and I might actually want to converse with folks. Pardon me, pardon my big bull shark. This is Bull Shark. Was I wearing this shirt last week? It's just come up in the cycle again, is all. I swear, we sent it off to the laundry, and then it reappeared. And so I guess we have to wear it again. Right? That's the way it works. Ordinarily, you see me wearing one of my many thousands of gray shirts. So yeah, now I can read, and I can use the mouse, and I can see what y'all are talking about. Hi, Mary. Hello, Carol's Food Forest. Vicky. Kimber, of course, already said hi to. Carol's Food Forest in the house. Already said hi to Arnold. 8 is my check-in number. Hi, Arnold. Okay, so Billy's sifted 300 pounds of clay and rock tomorrow. Then we blend in compost and simple amendments. Yep. 300 pounds, though. Is that 300 pounds wet or 300 pounds dry? 300 pounds wet is not a whole lot of volume. 300 pounds dry, though, that would be quite a bit more volume. Problem is, whenever some of that stuff gets really dry, it's hard to get it to hydrate again. We've got some areas out here that the silt is such that I kind of have to dig a trench and dig just little hashes into it. And then whenever I put water on it, it'll soak and it'll sit there for a minute and then eventually infiltrate in. But you can have water hit it, and then you have just a thin layer that gets hydrated. And then you move that to the side, and it's just dust underneath. There's underneath a little tiny thin layer that got hydrated, everything else is dust. It's crazy stuff. It's so fine, such fine material. So really, without adding a lot of organic matter to it, it's hard to keep it down. You have to have cover on it. Brian saying, hey, glad you made it on this day. Hi, Brian. This is the catio. Well, yeah, that's okay. So the plan originally for this area is this is the front porch. We put in, I don't know if I really had a whole lot of a good video of the process. We were really focused on just getting it done, and it was winter and bad conditions for filming anyway. But we just put in the frame around the existing front porch. The plywood's on the bottom, because you're not really going to have to worry about sunlight coming in there. So we have space from waist high and up. I can do seedling starts and stuff like that. The plywood should help block wind and help keep this area down here from getting too cold. And if we put a little space heater out here and plastic up on the windows, we can turn it into a little sunroom for that January through February period that we might want to get hothouse tomatoes or pepper plants or work on some of these cuttings. If we're going to go with taking dormant cuttings right there at the end of winter, I've noticed it's really easy to get a mulberry to start with a dormant cutting. Really, you just clip it off, stick it in the dirt. Whenever it wakes up, it goes, oh, I must be here to make roots, and it makes roots and it grows, and it's pretty good. Those you can have ready to pot up and sell off by the very next year. And I'd love to be able to get to the point where we're cranking those out. People love mulberry trees. Can't blame them. Mulberries are delicious. Especially proven producing mulberry trees. Arr! So what we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm glad everybody showed up for this one, is of course transferring your home, the place where you live, from a liability, something that you have to pay out money for every month. And you're thinking, yeah, I've got to have a place to live. I have to. This is a monthly expense. I have to pay for where I live, whether I'm renting a place, whether I'm purchasing a home, so on and so forth. So it's an expense. It's an outgoing expense. We all have it for the most part, unless of course we're fortunate enough to be born under such circumstances where here is the family home and you may reside therein and have no further expenses aside from maintenance, upkeep, utilities, and everything else that you may incur in the course of living your life, right? A home, a lot of people like to say, is an investment. The house is an investment. Real estate is an investment. The reality is, for most of us, we buy the house. We buy the one house. We try to make sure that we make the payments on the one house at times so it doesn't wreck our credit score. We don't want to wind up getting behind, losing the house. That would be tragic in a number of different ways. But along with the house, we now have obligations. You see, if we were renting, we wouldn't have to worry about fixing the pipes in the bathroom or making sure that the roof wasn't leaking, or making sure that the exterior was properly painted to prevent it from suffering wear from weathering, or making sure the lawn was maintained, or any number of other things that are associated with the owning and maintaining of property. We wouldn't have to worry about that because we're leasing the property, and the owner of the property has to take care of all these little minute details. The fact of the matter is, if the owner wasn't making profit off of the leases, then all the little minute details would make the problem for the landowner. How am I going to take this real estate that I don't live in and turn it into an asset? Because right now it's a liability. And for most of us, our homes are exactly that. They're the thing that we have to spend money on to upkeep and maintain. And of course, yes, we do get to live in them, but stacked against other costs. Why aren't we renting? So why aren't we renting? Why do we want to have homes? Well, one of the reasons you might want to have your own home is so that you can do things with your property. Turn your property into an asset, not a liability. You can't necessarily do this in a rental situation. Sometimes you can. Work out some sort of arrangement with whoever you're leasing from and say, hey, I'd like to start up a market garden. We're going to turn out, about 4 or 5 different types of lettuce, several different varieties of tomatoes, onions, chives, this sort of thing. We're going to flip these beds really quick, and we're going to take those to the produce market. Bam, bam, bam. Make a lot of money. Curtis Stone's book, be a market gardener, or what is it, urban farmer, right? Used to have that. You got destroyed. We put it up underneath the air conditioner, and the air conditioner unfortunately leaked out this way and wrecked the book. It's not the first time it's done that sort of thing. So I think the location for that AC unit is cursed. But it wrecked the book, and I'd read through it and give Curtis proper respect. I really like the direction he's headed towards now, with not politically. I'm talking just his idea of homesteading concepts, where he's looking more at the longer season vegetables that have more caloric content or have more nutritional value, and not looking at we're going to flip this, growing things for money, right? That was the model. Of course, that's the model you see with the Gervais family in Pasadena. It's a 1/10 of an acre farm, but they're growing things to sell at market. Lots of lettuces, right? Those are quick turnaround. Carrots, quick turnaround. Beets, quick turnaround. Radishes, quick turnaround. All these very, very, very rapid to grow, rapid to flip vegetables that you're selling at market are good for making money, but you can't have everybody do a market garden like this, because then you reach a saturation point. It's not good. But having a few people in every neighborhood that are growing for a market garden, absolutely, yeah, they can do that. They can do that to transform their property into a resource. Very, very successfully, and a lot of people have done it. That's a tried and proven method if you have the sufficient space and you want to exert the energy into it. Now, this particular topic is one that I kind of dance around a lot, because a lot of the things I talk about are centered around this idea of taking this small 1/3 acre, which is just two city lots on the very edge of Tulsa. This is the very last street of Tulsa right here, pretty much. There's no street over there until you're into Tulsa County, so this is it. We're taking these 2 city lots, 1/6 of an acre each, Of course, they've got the houses in the outbuildings. Hopefully, we'll be able to get rid of some of the outbuildings and maybe even one of the houses eventually, and transporting this into a functioning and actually, hopefully, eventually profitable homestead. Now, the journey to profitability for us is a slow one because we're not throwing a whole bunch of cash into it up front, and we're doing mostly we're going to take our time, a piece here, a piece there. Let's take a pause, look, see what we're doing, kind of learn a few skills along the way. And my thought for I don't want to get too incredibly biblical on you guys, but my thought in the matter is somewhat along to the concept of the parable of the talents. Right? We have these two small properties here that we have access to that we can do something with, and maybe if we can take them and we can demonstrate that we can do really good things with these two small properties here, which are city lots, maybe the opportunity will in the future present itself for us to do more with larger properties, and that would be, of course, expanding the business and doing greater things. Maybe that's in the offing. Maybe the course to that I'm going to follow is I'm going to show you what I can do with these two small properties, and if I can do something really cool with these two small properties, that will be what I use to build to do something else. Mary is pretty much happy to live right here. She's like, oh, can't we just retire? Yeah, probably. I think probably we could eventually build income from just this home setup to retirement levels, even though it's not a lot of space. Not a lot of space. Even though I'm not doing market gardening, I could do market gardening. I think what I'd rather do is an aggregation for several people to get together with market gardens union. People that are really good at growing the tomatoes, we get your tomatoes. We pay you up front for the tomatoes. We take your tomatoes to market. That sort of thing. That's how my Uncle Chester transformed the old Conrad Farms into a major business, but with aggregation. And there's no reason why you can't do small scale aggregation as well as large scale aggregation. So we're talking about backyard gardeners, and you have a reason to grow a garden. I'll pay you for your tomatoes, right? That's a possibility that you can do if you have the right frontage or real estate for it. Now, at the moment, we don't have the right frontage or real estate. There's an RV shop immediately behind me, and that has frontage to the street. Unfortunately, we don't have access to that RV shop right now. It's property of church across the street from us, so we can't use that. Darn. There was a spot down the street that was a vacant lot that we could set up a market stand on. That was at a corner, nice intersection, and we did do a couple sales a couple years back there. But somebody bought that corner lot and put a house there, so it would be a little bit tacky. it's a parking lot, but they put the house a little bit back behind the parking lot, so it would be a bit tacky to set up a market garden on somebody's front yard, even though their front yard is technically a parking lot. So anyway, I've been dancing around this particular topic. There are a few channels that I occasionally stop in and comment in chat and converse with the audience. So some of the people that visit those particular channels also come here. So if you're familiar with Lead Farmer 73, if you're familiar with Jack Spirico and the Survival Podcast, you see similar concepts appearing in their channels as well. There's a reason why I watch those guys, because there's a certain amount of the thinking that they're into, the mindset that I absolutely agree with. They're trying to transform their homestead, whatever the property is, from liability to asset, and that's a driving factor in everything they do. As a matter of fact, I hear that this particular topic was how Jack started his podcast. Whenever he said, I'm gonna I don't have anything else to do while I'm driving. I'm going to record a podcast. I think he was doing it during his drive time. I hope I have that right. I hate to misrepresent it, but the first one was on transforming your home from a liability, something that you constantly have to pay the mortgage and the upkeep and the interest and the insurance and everything on, transforming it from that. Yes, you do get to live there, but transferring that into a source of income. So I haven't gotten around to doing this because I don't want to, duplicate efforts, I guess. There have been plenty of people that have done the topic before and probably done it a lot better than I'm going to do it. So why should I? But wish today it felt like a day to talk about it. Mary's got to go to bed. Let's see. Grandma Zeus, so she got some bees. So you built a house. Well, maybe we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, the people that do these hive captures say that if you can get a whole piece of old honeycomb and put it into whatever box or enclosure you want to attract that swarm to, it will attract that swarm because they'll smell. Oh, here's a place where bees have been before. Let's go investigate that. And if it fits their requirements, they'll set up shop there and they'll start moving their swarm in. So you can capture a wild swarm with that. You just need access to some of that old honeycomb and something to put them in, bee boxes. But you can do your initial capture apparently in a cardboard box. As long as you're calm and don't spook the bees, you can handle them. Yep, yep, yep. I think you probably want to get the equipment though. Sassafras bread popping in. You want a cat tree like this? Mary got that kind of bluish gray one, the one I was calling Wedgwood whenever we were putting it together. I mean, we used to have some carpet in this fancy apartment that I was staying at that had this shade of carpet. They called it Wedgwood. And I was like, oh, okay. It looks kind of like bluish gray to me. Anyway. She says she got it for less than $100 on Amazon. I don't know. She's got the knack for finding stuff on the digital marketplace. I just ordered up. If I want to talk about stuff that I bought on digital marketplace, I'm not getting any affiliate, associate, referral or anything for it. It's just I ordered up this solar powered aerator. It's an aerator pump. So it's just for putting the bubbles in your fish tank. For of course, outdoor application. I got one, and I tried it out for the mosquito fish that we're bringing in. So whenever we do our stock tank irrigators, catch our water from the rooftop, you've seen them sitting out there. You just haven't seen the video where I talk about it yet. Part of that entire setup involves putting these fish into the tank so that they will eat any mosquito larvae in there, so we don't create a hazard with the mosquitoes swarming from our irrigation tanks. So we put those in there. We have leptominer, which is the duckweed, in there, which means that they have a means of processing their waste and a means of getting more oxygen into the system. I've actually had them go throughout an entire season without an aerator at all, just sitting there with the planting in the tank with the leptominer and everything. And they were fine. Water got a little bit yellowish, but other than that, they were okay. But here we're going to have the aerator in there too. The first one I got worked great, and I said, "Okay, that's awesome. I'm going to put that one back there in the back area where that little pocket pond is. That's really nice, and it's milkweed's going to pop here pretty soon. We're going to get more blooms from that." As it progresses, hopefully we'll have blooms in all of the seasons around that little pocket pond. But that's the breeding area for those mosquito fish. And it's going to take 30 days, give or take, from the time they get in there and get acclimated. So probably 40 days, really, from now, before they'll produce their first litter. And they're live bearers, and there's at least 2 or 3 females in there. So we'll have anywhere from 40 between the two of them to as many as 50 from one, so 40 to 100, and more than likely the number is going to be right around 60, so probably about 60 altogether little baby mosquito fish in that 100-gallon tank. Well, they'll grow to maturity in about 30 days to the point where they can have babies. So in about 50 to 60 days, I'm going to be looking to trap out little mosquito fish and take them and distribute them to all of our stock tanks that we're collecting water in for irrigation. By this time, I need to have the tanks all set up with pumps, irrigation, or not sorry, pumps for aeration with the little air stones in them. So since that one solar powered area worked really good, I ordered up another. It'll be arriving here soon. Uh, I got the manifold that let me split that hose up into several different tanks last year, and it was sitting on my desk. And I finally got around to cleaning my desk. Went, oh look, here's the manifold that I need for this project. I guess I should go ahead and proceed with this project. So we went ahead and got the rest of that stuff. Behind me, you can't see it right now, but behind me, this is the thing I've been spending all day on. In the driveway, I've got a stack of 200 of these. They're about, I think, 14 foot or 14 inches on the side, or they might be 12 and a half inches on the back side by about 9.5 or 11.5, depending on the front side, about 4 to 6 inches wide and 4 inches thick. These masonry blocks, they're called block wall. They're useful for building fire pits or retaining walls. I like them for retaining walls, particularly in places that are going to be visible. Now, if it's in the back 40 that nobody's going to look at anything, just put a cement block, which is fine. Nobody's going to look at it. Nobody's going to see it in the work. But out front where it's going to be visible to the street, and I want it to maybe eventually look good someday. I've been getting these block walls. We ordered up 200 of them. They're like $1.79, $1.80 each. So they're it's a little bit of money into them. And we're putting them on the south side of the house, right there in that strip in between where the driveway runs and the foundation of the house is. The foundation is here, the house is concrete. And then there's a driveway over here, it's concrete. There's about maybe a 4.5 foot wide strip of there in between it. And it's it's hard to get anything to grow properly in here. Not a lot of space. You've got water pounding down on it from the eaves, so that has to be addressed if you're going to grow stuff there. Of course, you don't want anything to get in too deep because there's the foundation. You don't want things like your deep rooted stuff to undermine that clay compaction at the underside of that foundation. I don't know how deep it is, and I don't want to find out. I don't want to risk it. So anything that goes up there has to be very, very shallow rooted. Weeds move in, elm trees move in. We've got an incursion of black locust there now. I'm sorry, Mary. I have been keeping a couple of black locust trees in isolation on the driveway, and they escaped confinement, sent roots out, down through the concrete, out and under, and now they're in that space, and we're going to have to smother them out to get rid of them. That's easier said than done. So part of all of getting that place managed is going to begin with putting in a retaining wall. And because right now, anything that we do is going to spill over into the driveway. Any soil amendment, any preparation, any soil building at all goes out and across the driveway, and we lose it immediately. So we can't do anything until this is put in. Something is put in to capture that runoff. So next project coming up, we're getting the driveway, or I got the driveway cleared off today, so we can do it. So all the kiddie pools that were over there with the daylilies in them, with the yellow flag iris, those got moved out of the bags that I had that have the black locust trees in them, and the redbud trees in them, and the pecan trees in them got moved. The maple trees are still there because I just uppotted a couple of them, and I don't want to move them until they get a little bit better settled. I'm just down to one little kiddie pool with one little goldfish sitting there going, hi, I'm sub-irrigating a couple of trees right now. And that's all I've got left there. So we're almost ready to begin doing that particular build. So speaking of ways that you can transform your home or your homestead into something that generates an income for you, we've started a small plant and tree nursery here. And of course, we sell online through Shopify. You can't see it unless you're watching on the replay. You can't see it underneath here. But if you are watching on replay and you look down here underneath, right down there where you see the description and stuff like that, you'll see a little bar that should have several little pictures on it. And those little pictures have a description of what the thing is that I've got for sale and a price tag. Right now, it's $15 for everything. I discounted everything to $15 on Shopify. Everything. And I'm talking redbud trees, black locust trees, bundles of Egyptian walking onions. The daylilies is 9 daylilies, pack of 9 for 15. What else do we have going? I know I've got something else that I didn't mention just now. Anyway, take a look at the pinned comment there in chat if you're in chat right now. That will lead you to the Shopify shop. You see everything we've got up there. So $15 for everything. Yes, like $5 for shipping. Yeah, big spenders. Can you get a redbud tree in that 2 to 3 foot range? And if I go taller than 3 foot, if I go up to 4 foot, then you're paying an awful lot more for the packaging and shipping for a tree that's not going to adapt and grow particularly any faster where you're at. So keep them small. You're not paying that much for shipping. You're going to get a good tree that will grow to the space and not pay as much for it. I mean, please let me help you save money. Please let me help you save money. I'll send you just a tree, not dirt, and it'll be a tree of a size that can grow to the space that you want it in. Instead of trying to start out with a larger tree and then go, well, I hope it makes it here. We had to prune the roots back so much to get it to travel, and now it's trying to make up for lost time because it's been growing in a poor location. In a pot in a nursery is not a great location for a tree to be in. So the sooner they move from that location to their home, the better off the tree is. You don't want them 4, 5, 6 foot tall. You might think that you do. You might think, oh, well, they'll get to fruiting sooner. It's not worth it. It's not worth it because you're going to be spending years for your tree getting over the trauma of having been raised in the nursery setting. So get them smaller. Get them smaller. You pay less for your trees. They'll be healthier in the long run. Anyway. And also you get to support small nurseries like this one. Scroll down. Vicky's saying weather forecast says we're supposed to get rain. I know we were supposed to get some. We were supposed to get some today. It sprinkled. They say we're going to get some more tomorrow. Ooh, Billy's got some blackberries and raspberries, maybe. Yeah. Well, you'll be able to tell. You'll definitely be able to tell whenever the berries come out, because raspberries are hollow on the inside. It's all the little tiny pockets, the little tiny cells, little sacs with the juice in them. They form a hollow cavity on the inside on the raspberry. There's no hollow on the blackberry. Invading berry plants. The birds are just dropping them off. Some of those wild blackberries, they may have the most horrendous thorns, but they have the sweetest berries. They really are. They really are good. Harry says tricks by the tallest tree. Oh, the tallest cat tree, right? Yeah, not real life tree. Right? So I was saying, kind of half joking earlier, that if I could find a place to sell Ulmus americana, then I could just retire tomorrow. We have so many of them pop up. And then Brendan was doing a search and said, well, here's one, $70. I was like, so you gotta pay $70 for an American elm tree? Yeah, like a 3 or 4 foot tree is like, that's a 4 foot tree is a pretty big tree, and you're paying more for the shipping, and the root mass has got to be pruned back. You're losing roots of a tree that could have had a more complete root system. Is all I'm saying. You have to traumatize the tree to get it to that size and still be able to ship it. And I don't want to traumatize the tree that much. It can be better to not ship them that big. And if that means you have to sell them for less, then you sell them for less. And I think that's perfectly fine, especially if you have a product that the customer is going to be happier with in the long term, right? Mary was wondering, why do you go to the trouble of paying for the websites or paying for the shopping cart apps and all that stuff now? It's like, well, if I do that now and it's ahead of when I'm really ready to go full commercial. If I do it now, I'm getting my practice in. I'm learning how to deal with customer service stuff. It's, it's all a learning curve, right? I'm getting all this education taken care of so that whenever I do get to the point where, okay, we're going to start advertising heavily. And I've already got money. I'm putting money back into my advertising budget as we go. I haven't started spending money in my advertising budget. It's kind of important to note a percentage. And this is already the way this is working. There's a percentage of the income that we get from either ad revenue on YouTube or sales from the nursery goes into a Google Ads account. And at the moment, that's not going anywhere. It's just sitting here waiting until it gets to the point where I've got enough to launch a campaign. I'm not going to launch the campaign until I have enough product that I can actually sell and say, okay, look, we actually do have the stuff here to make it worth the time to advertise. And that maybe means 20, 30 different examples of each tree, half a dozen different trees. And we're coming back around, so if I can sell all this Americana. Apparently I can. and it's like, oh yeah, I should have remembered this because whenever I first started and I said we're going to sell red buds, and Mary said, but those are weeds. And they are. I mean, in our yard, red bud trees are weeds. They absolutely are. But even here in Oklahoma, we have other people that don't have redbud trees in their yard. They have to, if they want to get access to the blossoms, and oddly enough, they do, they have to drive like miles away from their home to harvest the blossoms. It was Chrissy at Paragon Ridge was making redbud jelly. She made some redbud jelly and took it to the farmer's market, but she had to drive out to get redbud blossoms. I was like, oh my gosh. If you had gotten a hold of me like a couple of years ago, whenever I gave you guys a couple of fig trees because I didn't know what to do with all these figs I was getting inundated with at the time, I was like, I've got spare figs here, have some. But if you told me that you wanted some red buds, I had red buds for sale then. I have them for sale now. I always have red buds. Hook me up or hit me up and I'll hook you up. But anyway, yeah. Local people don't have these trees. Weird, huh? So I guess, yeah, somebody wants an American elm tree. I've got them. Buy one, get 500 free. And by buy one, get 500 free, I mean by the time it reaches maturity and it starts producing, you will have baby elm trees everywhere. If you wanted an elm grove, if you wanted to grow morel mushrooms or something like that, then yeah, they'll definitely do the trick for you. They're a great fast growing pioneer, but they don't really become cool until they get big. In between them, they're just annoying. Elm trees. We have those. We've got sweet gum, and I need to experiment with growing sweet gum. I don't think I've seen any wild germinated and growing sweet gum in the backyard, and I don't know why that is. I'll probably have to investigate and see why we don't have them volunteering, or maybe if they are volunteering, maybe I'm mistaking them for something else. They're not making it. There's a hackberry over there in the neighbor's yard. Actually, there's two hackberries in the neighbor's yard. And hackberry is one of those trees that gets kind of a bad rep. I've bad-mouthed it before because of some of the things that it does. When it drops its leaves have a chemical that inhibits the germination of seeds of things that it might consider to be competitors. So that might include your vegetable garden. So if you have these hackberries around and they're dropping their leaves, and maybe it might inhibit the germination of your pumpkins or your squashes or your tomatoes or your carrots or whatever it is. Maybe not. I'm not entirely certain. I just look over and go, all right. Well, the berries aren't much to talk about. Whenever you get them, they're way up there in the branches. The squirrels will eat them. The birds will eat them. They're little red berries, and there's just skin, barely anything that you might consider a fruit there, and then seed. That's all there is to them. So they aren't really great for us to eat. But the wildlife like them. And they like to drop limbs off. And when they drop the limb off, the place where the limb came off grows quickly into this collar with a cavity, like a little hole, right? Out, a little cavity in it. And that cavity is a great place for things like chickadees and the woodpeckers and wrens and everybody else to come and make their nests in, all the cavity nesters. So having a couple of these trees in or around your property is not necessarily a bad thing. So I may consider adding that to the lineup. It's just one of those things that we do get quite a few of, and it would be a shame to waste them if somebody has a need of them. I don't particularly have a need of them myself. I need to start changing my mindset. It's like, wait a minute, just because this is a weed for me does not mean that it's not a valuable plant for somebody else, right? And it's something that nature is just handing me here. It's a gift. Here, have an elm tree. Here, have a hackberry. Here, have a maple tree. Here, have a pecan tree. And now I'm getting all these trees that are popping up. And sometimes, like, there's a winged prickly ash that just showed up over here. I know I didn't plant it, but somebody did. One of the birds that came in to visit. We have birds coming in from all over the place. We have goldfinches now, right? Nesting. We have nesting goldfinches, amazingly enough. This is so cool. Little side benefits of doing all these different plants and having them growing. The diversity of plants brings in the diversity of different animals. The diversity of the different animals is kind of cool. They bring in other things too, right? They said, "Oh, I like this particular berry. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to sit here in the shelter in the trees that you provide, the shelter that you provided, and I'm gonna be hanging out next to this water, the surface water that you provided, and I'm just gonna enjoy my meal, and we're going to drop that seed there. Well, the seed grows, and what in the world is that seed? Well, that's whatever they were eating before they arrived here. So it you never know what you're going to get. I've got oak trees that are popping up that I didn't plant. And the one oak tree that I did plant is not mature enough to be producing acorns. And there aren't any oak trees anywhere nearby, really. So these are coming from a ways. Oh, okay. Somewhere over there, quarter mile away, there's a spot that some animal said, I want to carry this acorn from here and stash it here, along with these other things that are from over here. And now I've got pecan trees popping up 100 yards away from wherever they fell. And I see the squirrels running back and forth planting. So we've got animals planting for us now. This is cool. It's probably going back into the ecosystem stuff, right? Once you get the things set up and started, you'll discover you're not the only person that's gardening, or you're not the only being that is gardening. I'll put it that way. All other creatures are also doing their bit and contributing their bits to ecosystems. Anyway, point being is, have a look around. You may have more resources than you think. And just because something might be a weed in your yard does not mean that it's not something valuable for somebody else. A lot of other things that you can do that don't take up a lot of space. Curtis was talking about microgreens. Everybody wants to do microgreens now. Growing fungi, growing mushrooms, mushroom gherkins, providing fungi for restaurants. If you can get the connections, sure, yeah, right. Flowers. Is there any reason why you cannot be the person that is making the bouquets and the arrangements for people in your neighborhood? Right? Create your own opportunities. Maybe you don't have 40 acres to work with, so you're not going to be growing corn. And let's face it, you don't get a whole lot of money from growing corn in bulk. Guess what? $4.50 a bushel. That's a lot of corn. 12 pounds for $1. You're not going to get a whole lot of. You're not going to get rich growing corn. Livestock, you can raise livestock, raise cattle. You need a lot of space for that. Beef sells well. You can have dairy cattle. Of course, you get a lot of hoops to jump through, running a dairy, and getting an income that way. Sometimes being small is not a problem. Being small is an opportunity for you to think of other ways that you can transform the property you have from being a liability into an asset. raising exotic fish, raising exotic pets in general. I've seen a lot of people do exotic pet raising. You know, as long as it's not a saturated market, then yeah, you can do it. Mary's saying renting is outrageous. It's well, yeah, especially where you're at. The rents are way up there. It's like over 900 for one bedroom in Tulsa nowadays. Huh. We should all live in civilized. Yeah. Drop says bought our house with cash. There you go. That's the funny thing about a mortgage, right? And I think it's probably in Ramsey's program. I don't know if this, I don't follow Ramsey's program, but I've heard a little bit. So yeah, it makes sense. You get a house like this one, and at the time that it was purchased, or the purchase agreement was made, it was about 30 for the house. Of course, you know, home values, at least on paper, have appreciated. Uh, but on a 30-year note, I think it was like somewhere around $5,000 a year. It gets paid in house payments. Well, $5,000 a year for 30 years. How much is that? That's well over $30,000. So if you can afford to pay cash for your property, pay cash for your property. My only real advantage to keeping up with the mortgage is it makes your credit rating look good. But otherwise, it's consumer debt, and it's horrible because you're paying interest on what you need to live, which you wouldn't be doing if you're leasing or if you owned outright. Of course, if you're leasing, you're paying somebody else. You're having to pay for somebody else's interest. Okay, Little Frenchie and Big Test is dropping in. Hi, hello. Drops is with us. Oh, yeah, my heart feeds different shapes. Yeah, a little bit. Got that farmer stand going on. Grandma says her feet are tan. Mine are not. I wear boots. I wear boots. I have to wear boots. I have to wear shoes. Too many people that were here before us buried their garbage, and they buried broken glass and other stuff like that. So I have to. I can't just walk barefoot everywhere. I mean, I kind of sort of can in some places where I know I've been through everything, and I know there isn't anything that's a hazard in that area. Matter of fact, I was walking around barefoot in the front yard not too long ago, just to demonstrate that I could, because that was the area that we had all the sandburrs. No more sandburrs. Got rid of the sandburrs, banished the sandburrs, changed the soil so we don't have sandburrs anymore. Only house in the neighborhood that doesn't have sandburrs in the yard, and it's got a forest instead. Unfortunately, we're far enough north that we don't have the fire ants. We are just far enough north that we don't have the fire. I checked. That's it. I fled from the fire ants. I moved far enough north that there were no fire ants, and I said, okay, as long as there are any fire ants, I'm happy. I can live here. But if I have to move down into fire ant territory, then I'll have to. Brian saying, yes, have a market stand with a Trump sign. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Build a wall. Mary's having me look over prefabricated kennel setups to see if I can get something that will function in under the budget that I estimated the cat tractor would cost. I wanted to budget 600 for it. I'll probably get it in under 500 or so, but we still need about 175 to 200 on top of that for the cameras. saying it's not cheap, but you got to do what you got to do. I can't just let the Gophers win. So I've been walking around looking at there's a little mound where they're coming up and they're ejecting the soil there, and there's a hole there, there is a tunnel there, so I can tell where the critters are. So it's like, okay, I need to get my hunters back out there, get them back to work. So yeah, okay. Mary is saying cat enclosures aren't that expensive. The question is just, can I get one as big as my ambition was? Maybe we don't get one as big as my ambition was. Maybe I get one big enough that they can get out there and get to work, because they start crazy in here. And I discovered I have to spend about 3 to 4 hours a day interacting with wherever his largeness went off to, because otherwise he's just going to sit there and howl and try to pull the screen off of the door, or figure ways to get outside because he wants to hang out with me, and I'm working in the garden, and he sometimes if he's up here and he can see the front or he can see the side, he can see me, but he wants to be close. Oh gosh, these cats, I'll tell you. Let me see here. Ooh, some good stuff. There you go. When you're buying a home, you'll eventually be done paying, but you're always going to be needing to pay for upkeep on the home. And the question is, well, why not use that home to generate an income? Right? And who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? I mean, like I said, you do market gardening, do rows of cherry trees, or hazelnut trees, chinkapin bushes, blueberries, having things to sell at the farmers market. How about incubating chickens and ducks, raising rabbits? I think kind of seasonal, baby ducks and rabbits, right? You have that once a year. You get a whole bunch of kids that want to get their baby rabbits, or a baby duck or something like that, and then a few months later it's like, can you come pick up this animal? Like, yeah, sure, but you're not going to get your money back. That's fine. Just get it. Just get it. So you sell the animal, you get it back after somebody else has fed it for a while. Okay. If you've had kids, you know how this works, right? Daddy, daddy, can I get it? Daddy, daddy, can I get it? And if you break weak, you're gonna get a whatever. Daddy, daddy, can I? And then you have to deal with that. There was one person that said that he had like 40, somewhere between 40 and 50 ducks they picked up from the park, because people buy them as pets, and then they realize that they don't want a pet duck, and they take them out to the park and they drop them off. I don't know what they do with the pet rabbits. All right. Let's see here. That is Gatorade. Go Gators. Let's see. Joe's in the house. Hello, Joe. Let's see. Oh, Mary's saying the kids moved to Pennsylvania, so we got bonus kids. Well, yeah, Jess moved up there with her mom and is keeping watch over Grandpa. And so, since she's not using her room, we occupied it with one of her friends and their husband. There we go. Well, yeah, because you walk into places where I know they're not completely and totally vanquished yet, and you're wandering around and like, hey, you're running a risk there. I did drag the area and try to get as many of them up out of the ground so they wouldn't have a chance to germinate. Did it for a couple of seasons, and we're doing the soil transformation, but you can have those in the ground and they could be dried and sitting there for years and still stick in your foot. And they're even more painful then. I don't know why. It's like they've become hardened with time, fossilized. The barb is still sharp in it when it doesn't want to come out. um, they kind of the nice thing about Oklahoma, if you think about it, is right. The nice thing about Oklahoma, nobody else wants the place. Nobody else wants it. The other nice thing is, if you're trying to develop very very hardy things that can handle extremes of heat, extremes of cold, how about drought? How about floods? Can it handle all of that? Can it handle all of it at the same time in the same season while it's trying to get itself established? If it can do that, then that might be a plant or a tree or a bush or whatever that might do really well where you are. So it's actually a fairly nice place to start a nursery business because everything that we grow here is a survivor. It does not require a lot of effort to keep it alive. If it can live here, it can live where you are. Most of those. There are limitations. Get far enough down to the tropics, some things won't grow. Get far enough up, some things won't. All right. I actually have one of those. Yeah, us too. Very saying don't send trees to landscapers. We were actually talking about trees for landscapers and stuff like that earlier. I mean, we were here not on the channel, but just have a little private porch chat. And I was thinking, really, I do need to expand my local business because let's face it, I can take one of these red buds. I can go down to the farmers market. I can do it tomorrow. At the farmers market too, and sit there and say, hey, this tree's $20. $20. Carry it away right now today. $20. And so I'm going to look at that and go, 1 year from now, that same tree grown in a pot will be the 4 foot tall tree that's selling for 40, $50 or more. But you can have it now for 20. Instead of spending a year in a pot and getting that tall, you can spend a year in the ground at your place and get a little bit taller. Up to you. Pay 20 for it and get the same size tree, or pay 40 for it and then you have to wait for it to catch up. $20 is cheaper and you get the healthier tree. So, we can sell them like that all day long. But if I can get maybe around 7 for each tree, each set of plants, each whatever, and that would be the cost of shipping, the cost of packaging, the cost of whatever to produce it. 7 free and clear of profit. Then we can start compounding this. Maybe we have 20 of this one, 20 of that. Get enough things, 40 or 50 different items in a catalog all the way around a property like this. Yeah, it definitely makes the house payment. What it's going to be for you guys if you do it, I don't know. What grows good for you where you are? What do you have a particular passion for growing? It doesn't necessarily have to be what I'm growing. As a matter of fact, I recommend it isn't the same thing that I tried dahlias. Dahlias didn't grow well for me. I think I've got one that came back. So we have too much dampness here, which kind of figured. I mean, it's not great. It's not great land for growing apple trees on, because apples don't really like the dampness. They get fungus problems too easily. And so dahlias also they rotted out in the ground. I can't keep them in the ground. I'd have to do lots of soil amendments and baby them. I don't want to do lots of soil amendments and baby a few particular plants. That's one of which somebody else can grow those, and that's a good thing too, because there are literally thousands of different varieties of dahlias. And if you've got, say, a dozen that you're growing, a dozen dahlias, maybe a dozen cannons, a dozen daylilies, and these are once again things that flowers are easy to grow, easy to propagate, thousands of them. And you're providing a market. You provide a market for cut flowers for the florists. You provide a market for people that want to buy the plants as well. Every small house, and you can have hundreds and hundreds of them, can provide those particular needs and still not meet the market. So, and that's just opportunities abound. Opportunities abound. And it's not hard to grow plants. Lynn is asking, "Is that your cat's house?" See, that's a tough question, because then I'd have to say it's my cat, and yeah, I guess technically we've adopted them. They are our cats now. They were community cats to begin with, which simply means that their mothers came and abandoned them in the neighborhood, like mother cats tend to do, and we took them into the SPCA and had them spayed and vaccinated, neutered in the case of Bilbo. And then the intention was to allow them to go on about their business, because as it turns out, whenever you neuter the male kitties, hi Bilbo, hello, he's the ambassador for the ASPCA trap, neuter, release, and monitor program. Hi, hello, look, isn't he handsome? All right, so whenever the males are neutered, they're still territorial. They don't want to hang out with a whole bunch of other male kitty cats, even if they're other neutered male kitty cats. And it's true, yeah, you'll have colonies where several of them will get together and they'll socialize. That outsiders, cats that aren't from around here, they get all hissy and they run them off. And it's actually more beneficial to have all the males neutered. It's kind of fortunate, because if I had to do it without the benefit of the SPCA, you can still neuter a cat. They're not going to like you afterwards, but you can do it. But you can still have that particular method of controlling the cat population. And then those cats are going to do wonderful things for you. They're going to stop the rats and the mice before they ever get into your house. You're going to stop the snakes before they ever get into your house, but especially the rats and the mice. And you really want them to stop the rats and the mice, because now we have typhus, and apparently now we have bubonic plague, and those are carried by the fleas that infest the rats and the mice that you don't want getting into your house ever. And your best chance of stopping those is having a bunch of cats running around outside going, dinner for me. All right. Worried about avian flu? A lot of people are worried about avian flu. I mean, it's a big scary thing. But the greatest threat for avian flu is having sick birds going back to community nesting areas where the birds are. And the best way you stop that from happening, guess it again, those cats walking around, they like to eat birds. They love hunting birds. They have a hard time catching birds. Birds are hard to catch, particularly those chickadees. Oh my goodness. Have you seen these guys fly? I've got one in slow motion working his way through the tree branches. It is doing acrobatics through the tree branches. And if you didn't slow it down, if you didn't have enough frames per second, you wouldn't be able to catch it. And the cat can't catch it either, unless that bird is sick and unwell, disoriented, and confused. And one trip back to the community nesting grounds away from infecting every other bird. But guess what? Cats can't get sick with avian flu. They're immune. So cats kill the sick birds. Cats kill the rats and the mice that could bring bubonic plague to us. Cats outside wandering around our houses are a community resource, and you want to have them. So anyway, sorry for the soapbox. Anyway, that's Bilbo, the catio. The reason why he's here and not outside is because there's a resident in the general neighborhood that thinks that it's fun to take his dogs on small furry animals, including cats. So until that's resolved, he's going to stay here, which means that he's going to get spoiled and not be a very effective outdoor kitty anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, Brian bought a bag of black sunflower the other day. That is awesome. Most of our sunflowers that we've got, all of our sunflowers that we've got, with the exception of Helianthus tuberosa, the Jerusalem artichoke, which is a sunflower, all of those came from black oil sunflowers. You buy in the bag. I just selected the biggest and the nicest and replanted those. So I grew a whole bunch, and then I just selected the ones I liked and I replanted those. So we're going to get more. And as it turns out, the kernel fills the entire shell in a sunflower seed, or on a black oil sunflower seed. The kernel fills the entire shell. So if you breed them for a larger shell, you get a larger kernel. So we actually wind up with nut meats in there that rival the jumbo ones that people typically get for eating. But if you're using them for feed for your birds, if you're using them for running through your oil press, and we've got an oil press that we could use for that as well, that they're great. I mean, they're a good high protein, high fat food source for your critters. And having them growing for a couple of years now, we've finally begun to attract goldfinches. So now we have nesting North American migratory birds. Yay. Yay! Aw, Septidia. That sounds delicious. I'm not sure what the growing requirement or the zone requirements are for it. Should be able to get it through customs. You never know these days, right? Canada's a pain to send things to, but getting things from different places, I haven't had a problem getting things imported. Usually, sometimes packages will arrive and you can tell they've been opened. Like, they're just getting some sort of plant material shipped to them. What in the world is this? Oh, it's vegetables. Here's some rare exotic vegetable from somewhere. But collecting plants is fun. I like collecting plants. I figure I'll have enough different exotic things that if I can figure out how to propagate them, that gives me all the product in the future that I really need to keep on doing small scale nursery. Some point in the future, we can go and I would like to anyway, invest in a larger property, do this on a larger scale, advertise more, produce more. But at a certain point, it gets to the level where you have to have extra employees, and it's not your home that you're doing the income out of. Now it's more work. I'm not eager to get to that point. I'm kind of enjoying being where I am right now and just doing the business building. Of course, staying in contact with the customers, you guys, even you guys who aren't customers, and you just like to tune in and watch, see what we're up to. It's fun. I was telling somebody about this earlier. I can't remember what channel I was commenting on, but I told YouTube is my advertising and marketing. We're a nursery, a small nursery. That's what the job is. We run it out of the house. It's a small homestead, small business. And we use YouTube for the marketing. And I kind of like to think of this in terms of, I'm a fan of Mark Shepard's, but he said that every time you do a business, the business itself, every one of them has to be profitable in and of itself. And at first we were saying this, I don't know if I get this right. Don't I need capitalization to get a business to start, or because I don't have the business started, it can never be profitable, and money has to come from somewhere. My inner idiot's acting out. Thank you, Chris Dies. But once it clicked with it, it was like, oh, okay, I understand. Because you don't want to have this child project business that's constantly having to have the influx of capital from the profitable business being a drag on it. If it can't become profitable, then this is no good. So every business must be profitable, and the design for it must be that it's going to be profitable. So running a YouTube channel where I show building a garden around the house, right? That's pretty much what we're doing, and building a garden nursery around the house, also what you're saying, including things like how to propagate, how to set up your initial garden spaces, how to do a forest garden, how to make sure you get enough water in the ground, even if you can't necessarily irrigate every day. All that stuff all goes together. On the one hand, I'm going to get ad revenue because there's going to be ads sold. That's great. So the YouTube part is profitable, and I can take a portion of that and put it into my own advertising. Even though what I'm really doing while I'm doing all this is going, hey, here's a product that we have, right? It may not be one I have for sale yet. Whenever I'm first introducing, it's like when I first got the walking ideas, when I first got a pear tree, whenever I first got cherries, when I first got plums, when I first got whatever it is, whenever it first appears, it's not for sale yet. It's we're going to experiment with it. I'm going to find out, one, can I get it to grow here? Two, can I propagate it? Three, does anybody else want one of these? And along the way, this could be a few years in the process of developing what eventually becomes a new product. We're at the point now where we have a few things that are indeed product that we sell on a regular basis. And of course, if you're watching on the replay, this is the second time I've done this. Remember, I said this is advertising. Check out underneath here for the Shopify tabs. We have a $15 sale on everything on Shopify. We've actually phased out the trees on the regular website. I'm thinking about closing down the old website because I paid the same amount for it as I do for Shopify. Shopify actually, kind of puts it right there in front of the customer. I kind of like that. So if I'm going to pay the same money either way, I think we'll go to Patreon for the blog stuff. Whenever I get the urge to write something, I just need to throw it out there. We'll put it on Patreon. Put it on Patreon. You get a free membership. You can see it for free. You don't have to pay anything to see what I put up there. Unless it's like, I don't know, science fiction writing or something that's written for entertainment value and not for just the general information that would help you guys maybe possibly in your gardening efforts. That stuff I don't think I should ever really charge you for. I don't. I think the education part needs to be free because it facilitates the sale. If you don't know what to do with the plant, why would you buy it? If you don't know how to prepare the food, why would you buy it, right? Why would you? Anyway, so at the same time, on the one hand, it's profitable in and of itself. It generates revenue. On the other hand, it supports the rest of the business. Oh my gosh. Okay. Seed bank seed at India airport as a biological threat. So you were shipping them overseas, or you were overseas and receiving them? I got to wonder about that. Billy, are you assembling seed banks? There you go. That's a great plan. Be able to get lost in the forest for days. And Carolyn's saying, if you get exotic animals of any kind, you may need you need or you may need. Sometimes it's a may or you do animals for your states. Many states also make you get a nursery license. Correct. Fortunately, in the state of Oklahoma, the only nursery license you require is if you're a nursery that is growing a particular type of plant, and I am not growing that particular type of plant. If and when they decide to make it federally legal, then I will absolutely grow that particular type of plant. And I will make rope out of it because I use a lot of twine, and I would love to use an abundant natural fiber source that I can grow myself as opposed to the nylon stuff, even though I probably still have about 40,000 or more feet of nylon baling twine left. I mean, it's ridiculous how long these spools last. They last forever. You get one, it's like, okay, we've got our twine needs taken care of
for a while now. I got that thing years ago. I mentioned before how many years ago. I've forgotten how many years ago now, so I'm not going to try to repeat how many years ago because I don't remember, and I would be having to make the number up off the top of my head. I don't want to lie to you. So it's been a while since we got the baling twine. But it was cheap. It was like maybe $15-20 for this big, huge spool of it that I've been able to use. Interesting. Arlo saying, there is someone told that we need to buy land from the government. Did they create it? No. So why do they act like they own it? It's kind of interesting. I did cover some of this in a previous live stream, which is definitely worth a rewatch. It's called Texas, a Natural Law Perspective. And I spent the entire 1 hour or so of that one going through the fundamental principles of natural law, how it pertains to property ownership, of course, and what it is exactly that nations are doing whenever they say that they have territorial jurisdiction over something, a border, right? What that really is. What was it that that the Tsar sold to Seward and Lincoln back whenever the Alaska purchase was made? Was land being sold? Were people being sold? Because there were multiple Russians there and multiple North American natives, tribal folk that were there. Were those people being sold? No, they weren't being sold. Was the land being sold? Actually, no, the land wasn't being sold either. What was being sold was a territorial jurisdiction and the right to trade with the people who did own the land for various purposes, including the purchase of land if you wanted to purchase land from them. So that's what was being sold. And of course, that a similar thing exists with the border with Texas and other borders that are claimed by countries. Very rarely that the country actually owns property. Interestingly enough, I believe the Crown of England does actually physically own a lot of the British Commonwealth, which makes it a little bit different because whenever you actually own the property and you're allowing people to live there, it's a bit of a different arrangement. You actually do have rights and responsibilities as a property owner in that particular case. And that's quite a bit different from what the republics or democratic republics out there in the world do with regards to property and territorial jurisdictions. All right. Carolyn is saying I can get an invisible fence for a lot less. Yes, but it would not protect them from the problem, which is ducks are indeed ferocious hunters of snails, slugs, and grasshoppers. Thank you for reminding me. I know I've hit the 1 hour, and I should probably hush it up and go. But one of the things I want to just point out is, if you are looking at that Shopify, and if you're looking at over there at the pinned comment at the top of chat, you can go and see our Shopify page there too. One of the things that we sell is Big Horse spotted corn. It's the Osage native corn. It is the most complete genome of ZMA's corn, what we call corn, the plant we call corn, on planet Earth. Most complete, period. End of story, no questions about it. You can go anywhere on planet Earth and look at the corn that's there, compare the DNA in that corn to what's in Big Horse, and discover that it's lost genes, and there's more in Big Horse. The one thing it does not have, yellow, because that's a mutation. It came from Massachusetts. Somebody bred it. It's now all over the place. It's not in our corn. We're keeping it that way. I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep it that way. As long as we don't have anybody growing corn around us. This particular valley is fairly geographically located. There's industrial parks around, which nobody's going to be growing corn in, which might seem strange. Like you're going to preserve an heirloom strain this way. It's like, yeah, it's not going to get cross-pollinated by anything. So as long as we're able to keep it that way, we'll keep it that way. And hopefully a couple other people will be able to preserve the genome too. I got it from Baker Creek during one of the 2 or 3 years that they actually had it for sale. I got it, tried it, went, oh yeah, we can do stuff with this. Got more seeds, made sure that I had extras, and kept on pumping the seeds into the ground and saving the varieties of different colorations, different characteristics that pop up. Because if you want to start land racing your own variety of anything, you want to start out with the most complete genome you can. And so if you want to have a corn that can survive really well with your own personal breed of corn, start with the most complete genome. So I have it, and you can get 400 seeds, 65 grams. I was going to do 60, then I did a count and realized it was a little short of 400. So we went ahead and bumped it up to 65 grams to make sure you get at least 400 seeds. That's enough to make sure that you can preserve the genome yourself. That's what you get for $15 plus $25 for shipping or something like that. So it's still at around, comparable to 2 or 3 years ago prices for seed corn for an heirloom. Hasn't changed essentially. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, the way we grow it out there without the pesticides, without fertilizer, is kind of cool. We go out there, we put daikon radish down, I put sunflowers down, and I put the corn down. They all come up together. Sometime during the first couple of weeks of growing, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to stomp on the radishes. It's not going to kill the radishes. It's going to just crush them back, and they're going to have to take a week or two to recover. During that time is the time. This is like right around April 15th or so, and after, whenever we start getting our heat in. Now, wherever you are, if you're doing it, you're just going to time it to about the time it starts getting warm. Stomp your radishes, and then fertilize immediately afterwards. Stomp them, fertilizer, wet it in, and then wait a couple of weeks. And the corn's going to jump up above the radishes this time. So all the corn's going to be up. And it looks like a jumbled mess right now. It really does. But now the corn's going to come up. The sunflower is going to come up alongside the corn. And the radish is going to stay down here because they can't grow very big at all. That's ground cover. At the moment, we don't have ducks in the corn at all. They're out there in the wheat. Different story. I'll tell you all about ducks and wheat later. Or you can watch some of the videos where I talk about this. So you can watch that. Ducks are out there in the wheat. Corn gets up to be about thigh high, up to waist high or so. And I know the ducks aren't going to be able to trample it, which is mainly the concern whenever it's younger. They might nibble a little bit when it's really, really young and tender, and that could be a problem. But once it gets up to knee high, they're not going to nibble it. And really, the only risk is that they'll run over and knock it over. You don't want to do that. So about waist high, they're not even going to do that anymore, and it's fine. You let the ducks go out there. So the ducks go in there where the corn is and where the daikon radishes are, or beets if I've got beets in there. I'm not worried about them eating this. They're going to gobble up some. They're going to eat some of those radish tops, and the radishes are going to die. And the radishes are going to die off anyway whenever they get shaded out by the corn. The corn gets high enough, it's going to shade out the radishes. But by this time, their tap roots, really big, thick tap roots, are going to go down into the ground, and then they'll rot away, leaving, of course, a cavity that's full of organic matter and all the microbial activity associated with it, creating air channels and pathways and so on and so forth. I don't have to till my cornfields, what we're getting around to. The radishes took care of that for me. So the radishes took care of my tillage. The ducks took care of my weeds. Now I have sunflowers up here with my corn, and the sunflowers are up here. Nice, big, beautiful sunflowers. They're oilseed sunflowers, but they're the descendants of oilseed sunflowers. I selected for nice, big, beautiful sunflowers. Wheel bugs are up here. These are also called assassin beetles. Bill, do not eat the power cord. And why are you licking the table? Yes. Have a catnip-infused fish. Yes. Okay. Wheel bugs, assassin beetles, are attracted to sunflowers. They love sunflowers. Also, for some reason, leaffoot bugs love sunflowers. So if you have a problem with leaffoot bugs, squash bugs, that sort of thing, plant sunflowers. Plant sunflowers. The leaffoot bugs come to the sunflowers. The wheel bugs come and kill off the leaffoot bugs. Then you have a whole bunch of wheel bugs. And they'll harass everything else. But now they're up there in the sunflowers, and they're right up here where the corn tassels are. Grasshoppers love to eat corn silk. Not tassels, the corn silks. Grasshoppers love to eat corn silks. If they eat the corn silk before it can get pollinated, guess what? No corn, no kernels, nothing. Time wasted. And of course, grasshoppers like to swarm. They like to eat. It's horrible. So they're up here where the silks are, and the wheel bug's up here where the sunflower is. And he goes, "Oh, it's a bug over there. Nice big juicy bug." And he starts moving over there and going, "Ha, I've got this little poker here. I'm gonna poke a hole in his shell and suck his guts out." Right? Wheel bugs are monsters. Grasshopper doesn't want to have that happen to us. He goes, "No, I'm going to get out of here," and he jumps out of there. He jumps down out of the top of where the corn and the sunflowers are. Too bad the ducks are down there. So the ducks get to eat grasshoppers. The corn gets to be unmolested. I get to use the spare water that the ducks manure in, because they like to manure in water, to fertilize my corn. I don't have to till. The ducks eat well. They make nice, tasty, nutritious eggs. I don't suffer from grasshoppers, and I get to save my corn all at the same time. And then, of course, whenever they're done in the corn, and I need to rehab that area, I can send them back out into the wheat, because they don't really eat the wheat. Whenever it's young and tender, they'll graze it a little bit. Once it gets older, they like to go through there. They like for the bugs. They like to hunt inside of it, but they don't eat it. So I can send them back and forth in between corn and wheat, and have ducks take care of these chores for the weeding, the fertilizing. Well, I mean, I do have to help out with the fertilizing just a little bit. Whenever I'm doing my watering, my irrigation, I'm fertilizing at the same time. Definitely. All right, so they help out with fertilizing, they help out with weeding, they help out with the pest control. Planting sunflowers, I got rid of the problem with the grasshoppers up here where the ducks couldn't reach them, and I also get sunflowers, which I can use to feed the other birds that like to come around and take care of eating, hornworms and stuff like that. So, yeah, great, huh? Fun stuff. Ooh. Sent some prickly pear seeds to Jay in Germany. The authorities have seized the seeds because they might be endangered cacti. Oh my goodness! Tell you what, those prickly pear seeds you can use them as a substitute for number 4 buckshot. I'm surprised they didn't seize them as as armaments. Those seeds are so hard. They really are. They're little hard, tiny things. Katie came in better late than never. Hi, Katie. We're about to wind down. Yeah, had Kitty once. Her name was Kitty. Oh, oof. Kay says, "What happened to my monthly supporter emoji?" I don't know. We need to add more emojis, incidentally. I don't know what the new emoji is supposed to be, though. I think Mary had an idea, and I was supposed to remember it, and I forgot all about it, and I haven't added it back in there yet. I'm horrible. I am a horrible, horrible YouTube channel operator. I just don't stay on top of stuff like this. Mary doesn't like black locust. Yeah, and it's because of the thorns. Black locust thorns, whenever they're young, are incredibly sharp and quick to catch you. You'll be walking by the tree and think that you are fine, and then a moment later you look down and go, "Is that blood? I'm bleeding. When did it do that? Did it reach out and go?" And then whenever they get older, the Robinia pseudoacacia does not make the extremely long thorns. True acacias make the really long, nasty thorns. And I think that the honey locust, the thorn honey locust, have really, really long, nasty thorns. But the Robinia pseudoacacia, whenever they're young, they have very, very sharp, but short, relatively short thorns. I mean, half an inch maybe, tops. Kind of like grabbing a hold of a rose bush, those kind of thorns. A little bit sharper, I think. But after they get older, it's not as big of an issue. And of course, once they get older, older black locust is great for your firewood. Oh my gosh, you throw one of those logs in. One log will keep you going all night. They're wonderfully dense, hot burning, but long burning because they're dense. Hardwood, great stuff. What? Mary is correct. Katie saying, yeah, what happened? What happened to your monthly support emoji? You might not be a channel member anymore. Did your credit card expire? That's typically what happens. It's like, hey, your debit card, credit card expired or something like that. And you have to update that stuff. I know it's a pain in the backside. Brian says it looks great in the video. Yeah, it's gonna look really really good here in the next couple of months. I took you guys into the backyard garden. If you guys have not seen the last video where I took you into the backyard garden, I do a lot of talking about the things that are back there. I didn't even cover everything back there either. Just a few kind of key things. Here in a couple of months, we're going to have some fun with the front yard garden because it's going to be an awful lot like last year, but more so. But more so. By the time we get to the end of summer, whenever everybody else is brown and hating life, that's about the time that we're really popping, or should be. So we're gonna try to have another repeat of that, going all the way into fall with just flowers in abundance. It's gonna be great. It'll be a riot. Yep, and we'll make sure to plant the winter wheat so we have more green going into winter too. I really like the idea of keeping things green into winter, and having just little clumps of wheatgrass here and there might not be bad. Speaking of wheatgrass, we were supposed to do a little planter for the cats so they could have grass. I don't know. Is that a thing? Is that something that we should do? Very got son. Billy says the problem with shipping as well, shipping costs. I know, right? It's so crazy. What do you want to ship? I want to ship a little box. A little box. A little box like this, maybe $8. $10, well, a little bit larger than that. It's like $10 to ship a box like big. A little envelope, $8 to ship $7-8 to ship an envelope. The flat rate things. If it packs, if it fits, it ships. But you get eat up on shipping costs really fast. So you either have to, charge extra for shipping, which always feels like kind of a chintzy deal on the back end. You go, look at my wonderful prices, and then, but it's $30 for shipping. Right? It's like, no, that's not going to work. Who wants to get gouged like that? Nobody wants to get gouged like that. So trying to set prices to the point where whenever you put that plus the shipping costs, it's not a waste of my time to do it, and it's not a waste of everybody else's money to participate. There is a happy medium there. Actually, whenever it's a small operation like this, it's actually easier to meet that happy medium because I'm not paying the overhead for lots of employees or a lease or anything else. It's my home, turning my home into an asset. Oklahoma chicken cam is late. So late. Are those birds in a proper chicken tractor now? Can you move it around, or is it a stationary arrangement? You'll have to let us know. Huh. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Second million easier to make the first. Yeah, that's true. I don't even need millions. That's disappointing. I tried Virginia Gold once. I had the hardest time getting the seedlings, not from starting. I got the germination to happen. It's just whenever they first come up, they're so delicate And our environment is very, very harsh for very delicate plants. They did not like it. So I had a hard time getting tobacco to grow for me. Ow! Hi. What was that? Was that a? Did I just get pounced on? I think I got pounced on. Yes, do put sunflowers with them. It's great. Put sunflowers with everything. Brian's asking who won the sunflower challenge. That would be um, another Brian at Flannel Farms. But well, nobody submitted an entry. I set the rules for the contest, and nobody submitted an entry. It's just the weirdest thing. A couple of people did plant sunflowers. I thought a couple of people did record it. Nobody sent me the links to properly enter. But by popular claim, Brian at Flannel Farms did grow the most sunflowers. So there you go. So I guess he would be the winner by default, even though he never actually entered. But then again, nobody else did either. Have I tried the corn earworm? No, I have not. Why do you keep on trying to get me to eat the bugs? You want me to eat the grasshopper? You want me to eat the corn earworm? You want me to eat the wheat coche? Coche. I almost did. It was a little bit too late by the time I found out I had it growing. It was like, oh, I could have sauteed that stuff and made a nice Mexican dish with some frijoles and some maybe some carnitas, made tortillas. I love homemade tortillas. I hate making homemade tortillas. Yep. Lucas thorns just leave the tree to come after you. Cousin got some thorns stuck in him. He started to fester. Apparently, they can cause you problems if they stick in you and break off. But I think that's the bigger acacia, not or maybe it's the honey locust. That's what it was, huh? Yeah, I figured. Have to spin on a regular basis with the 2 or 3 channels that I have memberships to. The way I figure it, we have okay. There's like $10-15 that just floats around between 2 or 3 different channels. Like, oh, cool! You're a member here. Well, be a member to your channel. Then whenever I get $10 or $15, when I get an extra 5, I go, oh, now I can afford to be a member to this channel. We're circulating the same $5 back and forth. Google gets half of it every time, so it's not exactly the same $5. Brian says could do a lot more in terms of homesteading. Could a little bit at a time. I mean, every year I'm doing a little bit more. All right. First it was the pecan tree and a couple of pear trees. I think we got all 3. We got 3 trees one year. 2 pecans and a couple of pears. So it was 4 trees. And then I said, okay, we're going to do another pear in the back because I wanted to get the different varieties of pears. We got Bartlett. We're going to get Anjou and Anjou or whatever you say. We're going to get another variety of pear, which I kind of dread doing because I already know something about pear trees. I know that if you have 3 pear trees, a family of 5 will not be able to keep up with all the pears. You will not be able to keep up with all the pears from 1 pear tree. And you'll have 2 extras. So at some point in the future, we will have an ample supply of parasite or whatever we want to use those pears for. Whether we gather them up, sell them at the market, or make cider out of them, or eat them, or make pear butter, or who knows what we're going to do with the pears, we're going to have way too many pears. And that's simply because I wanted to have enough pears I could do grafted pear trees so I can sell all in one pear tree. Because I know you only need one pear tree, even though we've got three. I've got three, so you don't have to. I will put up with the overabundance of pears. We'll find something to do. But really, you don't need three pear trees. You can have grafted. You can have all three different varieties on one tree. So eventually, we'll have all three different varieties on one tree, and they won't be cheap because we have to do the extra work grafting and everything. But the advantage is you get to have your pears on one tree, and you don't need multiples for cross pollination. Yay! You did. We might do something like that again. I don't know. All right, we'll check and see if Sergeant wants in. I don't see him, but he's probably sitting out there in the driveway. I'm well over almost at 2 hours. Oh yeah, all the dark horror story starts indoors, but once they get out there, they do good. Yeah. Spending extra on grow lights and getting the higher wattage lights may be a good idea. Also, reflective mylar in and around the seed start area to reflect more light in from the sides to the seed start area can help out as well, because you want to get those plants just inundated with light whenever they're getting it. If they're not getting enough light, then they're going to go, oh, feed me. And those little tiny cheap that we got off of Amazon grow lights, you really have to have them close to the top of those seeds whenever you're getting them started, or they are not getting enough light. Having them, even like 4 or 5 inches above, they're not getting enough light. You have to have them all the way down. So things to consider. Sometimes whenever you buy cheap, you get cheap, and if you want to have good lights, go ahead and spend extra with good lights. All righty. Yes, Sergeant is going deaf. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. Just things to think about. You've got a home. Think about what you can do in and around your home to transform it from a liability into an asset. Maybe your gardening efforts might be the way in. Everybody's got something. I love to collect exotic trees, exotic plants. I'm going to collect some things that you're not going to have. That's okay. If you don't have everything I have, you're going to collect things that I don't have. And that's okay. I don't have to have everything that you have. The fact that we all have different things, that variety is what makes everything so wonderful out here. The variety, the spice, the thing that makes the world go round. Maybe you're going to have something I'm going to want to get from you later on. Maybe I've got something you're going to want to get from me. Who knows? There's an awful lot of opportunities for people to transform their homes into. Somebody's walking around outside. I thought, no. I don't see the motion sensor triggering over there. That's got to be Sergeant. It's got to be the kitty. Anyway, there's plenty of opportunities for you to find something that can help you move from a person that's paying to have this thing, the home, right? And it's a liability, something you have to pay out for, into something that if it does not pay you, at least offsets some of that cost. And of course, if you're a home owner, once you've got that home paid, if you've got your system set up, you can be making a regular income from your house from any number of different things. We did an episode, sometime during the winter, I think, on homesteading incomes. That might be worth a look at. If I remember to, I'll put a link in the description for you. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night because I got to go and do something about this Gatorade, and I think I have to pay some more attention to kitties and stuff like that. We got to let one in. who's been outside on patrol. Old sergeant knows how to avoid the coyotes, so he's the only one who's allowed to leave the house right now. Because after 17 years of being in that environment, not getting killed, I think he knows how to avoid the hazard. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope you found the video informative or entertaining. If you did, you know what to do, and I will catch you next time. So then, get out there and get growing. Hi, Betty. How you doing, pretty girl? How you doing? Are you a wildcat? Are you a wildcat, or are you a domesticated kitty cat? Are you a domesticated kitty cat now? Is that what you are? Is that what you are? Are you a lap cat? Oh, she's a lap cat. She's a lap cat. Good night, everybody.